I've been thinking quite a lot recently. I know, dangerous. But what's got me thinking so much is actually about the staff and coaches in FC25. I want to find out how important they are, and do we even need to hire them, or are they just a gimmick that's been put into the game, that's been in the game in years gone by and has been brought back. Now, the staffing and coaching is a feature that they brought back a year ago, and I know in last year's game it was actually heavily important to player progression, but I want to find out if it's the same again this year. So we're going to be doing a very, very genetic test just to kind of see how much of an impact these staff have on how much focus you should put on having these staff in it. Now, I have loaded up some very, very basic settings, what I imagine most people would use when they're starting a new career mode, and we're going to go off of them. We're going to simulate one season with normal growth, and then we're going to simulate a season with normal growth still on, but with a full team of coaching staff, and see what results we get. I have made a huge decision in this one though. In times gone by when we've done this kind of testing, what we've done is we've taken a bunch of wonder kids because they're quick growing, but for the first time I'm just going to use a normal team. Well, not a normal team, one of the greatest teams there's ever been in Leeds United. But I'm going to be taking over at Leeds United and using them because then we'll get to see how the growth will be on just normal players, not just players that are expected to have huge growth, just what's going to happen normally, and be able to see what's going to happen with the team. And I'm going to be honest, I've wanted to make this video for a long time, and I'm pretty excited to see what results we're going to get. So if you didn't already know then, boys, this is the Leeds United squad. This is just the one that they've thrown up to start things off, and I'm happy with it. We're going to use this one to test it. Now, there are a few players in there that I think are going to, grow up really well. Probably Aronson, probably Nonto. That's probably it, to be honest with you. We'll see. Dan James might do well. Tanaka might do well. We've got Joseph and stuff on the bench, so I'm intrigued as well to see what impact they're going to have, because without the game time, they should have less growth, but maybe with the coaches, a lot more. Who knows? This is why we're doing this test. Now, if you're new to the channel, smash subscribe. Let's get into it. Let's simulate this first season. I'm going to make a brew because it's going to take 9 hours to do this, and let's see what this Leeds United squad looks like at the end of season number 1. Here we go then, boys. After an ages simulation, we are back at the end of the season. This is how the team is looking. Now, if we cross-check it with how they were doing before, Piro's gone up by 1. Aronson's gone up by 3, so he seems to be the best growth. Now, this is a big thing about this test. I didn't use development plans. I wanted to see the most basic form of progression without coaches, without any of those other faffy features. What would be the basic progression that we would get with players? And I don't think this is particularly bad. Tanaka went up by 2. Gruev went up by 3. Rodon 1. Stroik 1. Bogle up by 1. Firpo didn't move at all. And Nonto went up by 2. If I look at the bench, Joseph only went up by 1, so game time obviously is going to be important. Solomon has gone up by 2. Ramzani, again, only gone up by 1. So there are definitely going to be some keys here of our players getting game time or not. But if you was asking me for the most realistic level of progression, actually doing nothing is probably going to give you the best progression that you could get. Do you know what you could do? This would be a good suggestion, is don't do any game plans on starting players, and I would then have, the youth players having development plans, like Joseph. I'd have him on a development plan. But the rest of the team's growth, actually very natural, actually very good. Now let's do this again, but let's do it with these systems in place. Here we go then, the end of another season. And this time round, we still went with no development plans. I keep failing to remember to get the little sheet up that shows me what players' ratings were. But we've got no development plans. I want to test out all 3. So we're going to do one more sim after this to see what it's like with coaching and development plans, but this is just with coaching in. I'll show you the coaches after, but we're not seeing insanity. Piro's gone up to 76, so we're seeing some players see better growth, but all in all, it's very, very similar. We're not seeing like a crazy difference. Rodon up by 1, Stroik up by 1, Bogle stayed the same. I think he went up last time round, if I remember. Joseph only up by 1. Ramzani went up by 1 extra. But yeah, this is literally with the scouts in, not with the scouts in, with the staff in, nothing's changed. I kind of in my brain thought there's going to be loads and loads of change here with having the staff in, because it does say it's going to give you boosts. Now, I did just free ball it with the staff. I just did what I could, but if I move my big old head out the way and push me up here, you can already see it does say that we're going to get quicker development with players, but I don't feel like we've yielded quicker development. If anything, I feel like this has been near enough the same, but I am expecting now that we put development plans in for this next sim that we see way bigger growth. But as things stand, it's not looking like it's important to have staff in the team, but with the development plans, it may speed them up a lot more, and that might be where we get our growth. Right, so I've gone through now, lads, and I've just gone and put people on development plans. I've gone with anything, to be honest with you. Most of them were around the same amount of time, and I've just gone and picked out any development plan and put all the players on them. Let's sim to the end of this season now then and see if this gives us better results. Here we go then, boys. End of the final season. And I will say right here, we've been promoted every single season. The board has been unhappy for all of it. And we've finished second to Burnley every year. So it's been consistent in terms of where we've finished every season. People behind us have changed, but we have finished top second every year, with Burnley finishing top. Now, I am hoping I'm correct in thinking that we are going to see more growth. And I am absolutely right. Nonto goes up by 4. Pirro is a big one. Pirro went up by 3. Aronson this time went up to 78. He's been going up by 3 on both other sims. This time he went up to 78. Mateo Joseph as well, a player on the bench, went from 69 to 72 instead of just going up by 1. Manor Solomon's 79 now in this. Ramzan, he's gone up a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to say this straight off the bat. The actual progression for the players in the starting 11, although it is better, it's kind of like wildly better. It's probably too good, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm still going to stick with like my initial thoughts. Like definitely staff is important, and the development plans though are even more important. The staff and the development plans kind of go hand in hand. We've done a test before where we just did with development plans. Like they're going to be the way that you get the greatest development out of your players. And I definitely would probably set my stall out and at least have development plans for the players on the bench. But if I was trying to play realistically, which for a lot of the time I do, I probably wouldn't put development plans on players that are playing in the starting 11, because we were still seeing 3s and 4s from the majority of players. So I feel like that's a good medium for you. But yeah, I mean, staff are important. I feel like you're still going to get good growth without them though. How important are they? I don't actually think they're that important. I feel like you're going to get good growth with just the development plans. I got to be honest. But I've been intrigued about this for a while. I wanted to know what the hell is the best route forward when it comes to development for a long time. And I've definitely now decided and determined on like how I'm going to manage it in the future. And that's obviously giving my bench players and maybe youngsters development plans, and then maybe older players development plans to stop them from going down. But I'm not actually going to care that much about the coaches. And to be honest with you, in the latest save on the channel, the Nottingham Forest one, I don't think I've even got any coaches yet. I've just used development plans here and there because I want the most progressive growth that seems realistic as possible instead of just trying to get the maximum. But if you want the maximum, good staff and get those development plans up. But that's going to be it for this video, boys. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was an intriguing one for me, and I hope it was an intriguing one for you. It kind of gives you an insight on how you can get the best out of your players. But I will see you in the next video, lads.